They never found Travis Miller. Not his body. Not even a trace. What they did find was security footage that made no sense. Camera after camera showing empty hallways where Travis should have been walking his rounds. Like he just vanished into thin air. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you what really happened that night at the Meridian Office Complex. Because I was there. I was watching every second of it happen. My name is Detective Ray Carson, and I've been working missing persons cases for 23 years. I've seen kids who ran away to California and turned up 3 states over. I've found bodies in shallow graves and wives who faked their own deaths. I've worked cases where the answers were simple and cases where nothing made sense at all. But nothing like this. Nothing that kept me awake for months afterward, checking my own security system 3 times before bed. Nothing that made me question everything I thought I knew about how the world works. Travis Miller was 22 years old. Good kid. Clean record. Grew up in Riverside, about an hour outside the city. His mom worked 2 jobs to put him through school. His dad died when Travis was 16 car accident on the interstate during a thunderstorm. Travis had been carrying the weight of his family's finances ever since. He was studying business at the community college, pulling decent grades despite working part-time at a gas station on weekends. But tuition was due in 2 weeks, and he was $800 short. His mom had already taken out a second mortgage on the house. There was nowhere else to turn. So when he saw that security guard posting on the job board at school, paying $18 an hour for night work, he jumped on it. Most security jobs in the area paid maybe $10, $11 an hour. This was almost double. Should have been a red flag right there. Nobody pays that much for a simple security gig. But when you're desperate, you don't ask the right questions. You just take the job. The Meridian Office Complex sits on the edge of downtown, 15 stories of concrete and glass. Built in 1987 during the commercial boom, when everyone thought the city was going to keep growing forever. It used to house 3 major companies. Hartwell Insurance on floors 8 through 12. Blackstone Legal Group taking up 6 and 7. Morrison and Associates accounting firm spread across floors 3, 4, and 5. The kind of place where people work late and the coffee's always brewing. Where the parking garage stays half full until 8 or 9 at night. Where the cleaning crews work in shifts to keep up with all the offices. But that was before the downsizing. Before the economy took a hit in 2019 and companies started cutting jobs. Hartwell Insurance moved their operations to a smaller building across town. Blackstone Legal merged with a bigger firm and relocated to their offices. Morrison and Associates just folded completely, laid off 60 people in a single day. By the time Travis got hired in October 2024, most of the building was empty. Floors and floors of vacant offices, dark windows, and the kind of silence that makes your footsteps echo like gunshots. The only tenants left were a small law firm on the 2nd floor, a dental practice on the 1st, and a handful of independent contractors scattered throughout the upper levels. 90% empty. That's what the building manager told Travis during the interview. The building manager who hired Travis was a guy named Ed Kowalski. Been working there since the place opened in '87. Watched it grow from a construction site to a bustling office complex to whatever it was now. Ed was in his 60s, gray hair, thick glasses, the kind of guy who remembered when things were better. He was the one who showed Travis around on his first day. Led him through the marble lobby with its dried-up fountain and dead plants. Showed him the security office in the basement, a cramped room with a desk and chair, and a wall of monitors showing camera feeds from throughout the building. Simple job, Ed told him, handing over the keys and the radio and that little clipboard with the hourly rounds marked out. Walk the building every hour. Check the doors. Make sure nobody's where they shouldn't be. Most floors are empty anyway, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Ed walked him through the route. Start at the top floor, work your way down. Check the stairwell doors. Make sure they're locked from the outside but open from the inside fire code. Check the office doors, most of them should be locked tight. Look for broken windows, signs of break-ins, anything that seems off. Takes about 45 minutes if you do it right, Ed said. Leaves you 15 minutes between rounds to sit in the lobby, have some coffee, maybe read a book. Easy money. Then Ed mentioned the elevators. Almost like an afterthought, the way you mentioned that the air conditioner makes a weird noise or the coffee machine is temperamental. They've been acting up lately, getting stuck between floors, stopping when nobody calls them. Nothing dangerous, just annoying. If that happens, just take the stairs. We're getting them fixed next month. Travis nodded along. Easy money, he figured. Walk around an empty building for 8 hours, get paid better than anywhere else he'd applied. What could go wrong? Ed handed him a security uniform, blue shirt, black pants, badge with his name and photo. Your shift starts tomorrow night at 11 p.m. I'll be here to see you off on your first night, then you're on your own. Any questions? Travis looked around the empty lobby, at the directory board listing companies that were no longer there, at the elevator doors with out-of-order signs taped across them. Just one, he said. Why does it pay so much? I mean, 18 an hour for security work. Ed's expression didn't change. Hard to keep people. Night shift, you know. Most folks don't like working alone in a big empty building. That should have been red flag number 2. But Travis needed the money. He took the uniform home, ironed it, set his alarm for 10 p.m. He had no idea what he was walking into. The next night, October 15th, 2024, Travis arrived at the Meridian Office Complex at 10:45 p.m. Ed was waiting in the lobby, along with the day security guard who was finishing his shift. Guy named Martinez, been working there for 3 years. Good luck, Martinez said as he gathered his things. Hope you last longer than the others. Others? Travis asked. Martinez paused at the door. Last 4 guys who took this job didn't make it past the first week. Building gets to some people. All that empty space, all that quiet, makes you hear things that aren't there. Ed waved him off. Martinez is superstitious. Don't listen to him. But Martinez wasn't done. I'm serious, kid. This place has a reputation. People talk. Security guards, maintenance workers, cleaning crews. They all say the same thing. Something's wrong with this building after dark. That's enough, Ed said sharply. Martinez, you're done for the night. Travis, let's get you started. Martinez left, shaking his head. Ed showed Travis to the security office one more time, pointed out the thermos of coffee on the desk, the small TV in the corner, the stack of magazines someone had left behind. Your first round starts at midnight, Ed said. Take your time, learn the layout. After that, every hour on the hour until 7 a.m. Day shift comes in at 7:30. Travis settled into the chair, checked his radio, looked at the clipboard with his route marked out. Ed gathered his coat and briefcase. One more thing, Ed said from the doorway. If you see anything weird, anything that doesn't look right, radio me immediately. I live 10 minutes away. I can be here fast if you need me. What kind of weird? Travis asked. Ed paused. Just trust your instincts. This is an old building. Sometimes old buildings do strange things. And then he was gone, leaving Travis alone in the basement security office with nothing but the hum of fluorescent lights and the soft static from his radio. His shift started at 11 p.m. For the first hour, Travis just sat there, getting used to the quiet. And it was quiet. Not the comfortable quiet of being home alone, but the oppressive quiet of a place that should be full of people but isn't. The kind of quiet that makes you aware of every small sound. The hum of the air conditioning, the tick of the wall clock, your own breathing. At 11:30, he decided to take a practice walk through the building. Get familiar with the layout before his official round started. He took the elevator to the 15th floor and began working his way down. The upper floors were completely empty, not just vacant, stripped bare. No furniture, no carpeting, just concrete floors and bare walls. His footsteps echoed in the hollow spaces, and the emergency exit signs cast everything in that sickly green glow. Floors 12 through 8 still had some furniture left behind. Desks pushed against walls, filing cabinets with their drawers hanging open, office chairs scattered around like someone had left in a hurry. The carpet was stained and worn, and there was a smell in the air, not bad exactly, but old, like a room that's been closed up too long. The 6th floor was different. It looked like people had just stepped out for the day. Desks were neat and organized, computers covered with dust sheets, family photos still sitting in frames. Like everyone who worked there had expected to come back tomorrow but never did. Travis spent longer on this floor, looking at the abandoned workspaces. There was something sad about it, all these little pieces of people's lives left behind. A coffee mug with "World's Best Dad" printed on the side. A small cactus plant, long dead, sitting on a windowsill. A desk calendar still turned to March 2019. By the time he made it back to the lobby, it was almost midnight. Time for his first official round. Travis checked his clipboard, keyed his radio to make sure it was working, and headed for the elevator. He pressed the button for the 15th floor. Nothing happened. He pressed it again. Still nothing. The elevator wasn't coming. He tried the other elevator. Same thing. Neither elevator responded to his calls. Travis remembered what Ed had said about the elevators acting up. He took the stairs. The stairwell was darker than the rest of the building. The emergency lights here were dimmer, spaced further apart, and some of them flickered like they were about to burn out. Travis climbed 15 flights, his footsteps echoing in the concrete shaft like gunshots. By the time he reached the top floor, he was breathing hard. He pushed open the stairwell door and stepped into the 15th floor corridor. It was completely dark. The emergency lighting that had been working during his practice run was now out. Travis pulled out his flashlight, a heavy mag light that Ed had given him along with the keys and radio. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminating empty doorways and bare walls. Travis began his rounds, checking each office, each closet, each conference room. Everything was exactly as he'd seen it before. Empty, silent, normal. He worked his way down floor by floor, checking doors, looking for anything out of place. Most of the office doors were locked, but the ones that were open led to empty rooms with nothing to see. The 14th floor, the 13th, the 12th, all the same. Empty offices, dusty furniture, the smell of old air conditioning and forgotten coffee. It wasn't until he reached the 9th floor that Travis noticed something different. There was music playing, soft at first, barely audible above the hum of the building's ventilation system, but definitely there. A slow, sad song drifting from somewhere deeper in the building. Travis couldn't make out the words, but the melody was familiar. Something from the 80s, maybe early 90s. He followed the sound down the corridor, past empty office after empty office. The music got louder as he walked, clearer. Now he could hear the lyrics. "Don't you forget about me. Don't. The song from that old movie, The Breakfast Club. But where was it coming from? Travis checked every office on the floor. All empty, all silent. But the music kept playing, always seeming to come from the next room over, always just out of reach. He keyed his radio. "Ed, you there?" Static. Then Ed's voice, groggy like he'd been sleeping. "Yeah, I'm here. Everything okay?" "Yeah. Just... Is there supposed to be music playing in the building?" A pause. "Music? What kind of music?" "I don't know. Some 80s song. Coming from the 9th floor." Another pause, longer this time. "Travis, there's no radio, no sound system in that building except for the fire alarm. You sure you're hearing music?" Travis listened. The song was still there, soft but clear. "I'm sure. Could be coming from outside. Sound travels funny in empty buildings. Echoes, you know?" Travis looked out the nearest window. The street below was empty. No cars, no people, no source for the music. "I guess so. You want me to come in? I can be there in 10 minutes. "No, I'm good. Probably just like you said. Sound from outside." "All right. Call if you need anything." Travis continued his rounds, but the music followed him. Floor after floor, always in the background, always just quiet enough that he could almost convince himself he was imagining it. By the time he finished his midnight round and returned to the lobby, the song had stopped. Travis sat down at the security desk, poured himself a cup of coffee from the thermos, and tried to shake off the weird feeling that had settled over him. It was an old building. Old buildings made strange noises. Sound could carry in weird ways, bounce off walls and through ventilation systems. There was probably a logical explanation for everything. At 1 a.m., Travis started his second round. This time, the elevators worked fine. He took the elevator to the 15th floor and began working his way down. Everything seemed normal until he reached the 8th floor. That's where he found the first one. An office that had been empty an hour before now had a chair in the middle of the room. Not pushed back from a desk. There was no desk. Just a single office chair, black leather with chrome legs, sitting in the center of the empty space. Travis stared at it for a full minute. He remembered checking this exact office during his midnight round. It had been completely empty. He was sure of it. He walked into the office, pushed the chair against the far wall, and continued his rounds. Probably just missed it the first time, he told himself. Easy mistake to make in a big building with hundreds of rooms. But on the 7th floor, he found something else. A computer was on in what should have been a vacant office. The monitor glowed blue in the darkness, showing a desktop with dozens of files scattered across it. Travis moved the mouse and the screensaver disappeared, showing spreadsheets full of numbers and dates and names. All the dates were from 2009, 15 years ago. All the names were people Travis had never heard of. All the numbers looked like payroll records. Travis checked his clipboard. According to the building directory, this entire floor had been empty for 2 years. The law firm that used to rent it had moved out in 2022. He scrolled through the files. Hundreds of them, all dated from 2009, all showing employee records for companies he didn't recognize. Madison Security Services, Night Watch Incorporated, Guardian Protection Group, all security companies, all with employees who had worked at the Meridian Office Complex. Travis closed the files and shut down the computer. Probably just old data that someone forgot to wipe, he told himself. When companies moved out, they sometimes left equipment behind. The computer had probably been running for years, forgotten in an empty office. But that didn't explain how it had turned itself on, or why he hadn't noticed it glowing during his first round. Travis continued walking. That's when he heard it again. Not music this time, but something else. Typing. The steady rhythm of fingers hitting keys, echoing from somewhere deeper in the building. Click, 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 click. Fast, professional typing like someone working on a deadline. Travis followed the sound down the hallway, but it seemed to move with him. Always just around the next corner, always just out of reach. He checked every office on the floor. All empty, all silent. The typing stopped. Travis stood in the empty corridor, listening to the silence. His radio crackled with static, and for a second he thought he heard something in the white noise. Voices, maybe, too low and distorted to make out words, but definitely voices. He keyed the radio. Bass, this is Travis. You there, Ed? Static. Then Ed's voice, clearer now. Yeah, I'm here. Everything okay? Yeah. Just, are you sure all these floors are supposed to be empty? Positive. We haven't had a tenant on 7 or 8 for almost 2 years. Why? Travis looked around the empty hallway. Fluorescent lights humming overhead, emergency exit signs glowing green. Nothing but shadows and silence. No reason. Just thought I heard something. What kind of something? Travis hesitated. Typing, like someone working on a computer. A pause. Travis, there's nobody in that building but you. The doors are all locked from the outside. Nobody can get in without keys. I know. Probably just the building settling or something. Probably. Old buildings make all kinds of noise. Pipes, air vents, electrical systems. You'll get used to it. All right. Thanks, Ed. Call if you need anything. Travis clipped the radio back to his belt and continued his rounds. But the feeling that he wasn't alone in the building was getting stronger with each floor he checked. The 6th floor looked exactly as he'd left it during his practice run. Neat desks, covered computers, family photos gathering dust. But now Travis noticed things he'd missed before. A coffee mug sitting on one of the desks wasn't dusty like everything else. It looked recently used. He picked it up. The ceramic was still slightly warm. Travis set the mug down with shaking hands. Someone had been here. Recently. Maybe someone was still here. He checked every office on the floor, Every closet, every conference room. Nothing. No one. But the feeling of being watched was so strong he could almost feel eyes on his back. The fifth floor was the same. Everything looked normal, but small details were wrong. A jacket hanging on the back of a door that he was sure hadn't been there before. Reading glasses left on a desk, clean and dust-free. A newspaper dated today lying open to the sports section. Today's newspaper, in a building that had been empty for years. Travis picked up the paper. It was real. Fresh ink, crisp pages. The headlines were current. He recognized the stories from the news that morning. But how had it gotten here? He folded the newspaper and tucked it into his back pocket. Evidence, maybe. Something to show Ed in the morning. By the time Travis finished his 1 a.m. rounds and returned to the lobby, he was jumpy as a cat. Every shadow looked like a person. Every sound made him spin around, flashlight ready. His coffee had gone cold, but his hands were shaking too much to drink it anyway. He sat at the security desk and tried to think logically. Old building, lots of empty space. Sound could travel in strange ways, make you think you were hearing things that weren't there. And maybe some of the former tenants had left stuff behind: computers, coffee mugs, newspapers. Maybe the cleaning crew had missed some things, but that didn't explain the warmth of the coffee mug or the current date on the newspaper. At 2 a.m., Travis started his third round. The elevators worked fine again, carrying him smoothly to the 15th floor. He began his walkthrough, checking doors, scanning empty rooms with his flashlight. The upper floors were the same as always. Empty, silent, normal. But when he reached the 10th floor, Travis found something that made his blood run cold. There were wet footprints on the carpet, leading from the stairwell door down the main corridor. Big prints, way bigger than Travis's size 9 sneakers. The kind of prints left by work boots, heavy and deep. And they were fresh. Travis could see water still beating on the carpet fibers, soaking into the worn material. He followed the trail. The prints led past empty office after empty office, deeper into the building. Some of them were so clear he could see the tread pattern from the boots that made them. Travis keyed his radio, but kept his voice low. "Ed, you there?" "Yeah, what's up? Did anyone else come into the building tonight? Maybe someone you forgot to mention?" "Nobody. You're the only one with keys. The cleaning crew comes on weekends, and maintenance is scheduled for next month." "Why?" Travis stared down at the wet footprints. They were starting to fade as the water soaked into the carpet, but they were definitely real. "Just thought I heard something." "You want me to come in?" "No, I'm good. Probably nothing." "All right, but Travis, be careful in there. If you think someone broke in, don't try to handle it yourself. Call the cops, then call me." Travis followed the footprints deeper into the 10th floor. They led him past the elevator bank, past the restrooms, all the way to the corner office at the far end of the building. And then they just stopped. Not at a door, not at a window. They just ended in the middle of the hallway, like whoever made them had vanished into thin air. Travis checked the corner office. Empty. The carpet was bone dry. No sign that anyone with wet boots had ever been there. He backtracked, following the prints in reverse. They were fainter now, the water almost completely absorbed, but still visible. They led all the way back to the stairwell door and then... nothing. No prints on the stairwell side of the door. No wet spots on the concrete stairs. Like whoever made them had materialized on the 10th floor and then disappeared just as mysteriously. Travis stood in the empty hallway, listening to the silence. The building felt different now. Not just empty, but wrong somehow. Like something was hiding in the shadows, watching him. His radio crackled with static. But this time, the voices he heard in the white noise weren't so faint. He could almost make out words, whispers, too low to understand, but definitely human. Travis turned the volume up, listened carefully. The voices faded in and out with the static, like signals from far away. "Night shift. Check the doors. Something in the basement." Travis keyed his radio. "Ed? Ed, are you there?" "Yeah, I'm here. What's wrong? You sound spooked." The radio. Are you hearing voices on the radio? What? No, Travis, I'm not hearing anything except you. What kind of voices? Travis listened again. Just static now. The whispers were gone. Never mind. Probably just picking up signals from other radios or something. Probably. Police radios, taxi dispatchers, all kinds of stuff can bleed through. Don't worry about it. But Travis was worried. The building was getting to him exactly like Martinez had said it would. All that empty space, all that quiet, making him hear things that weren't there, see things that couldn't be real. He finished his 2 a.m. rounds and returned to the lobby, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something was following him. Not close enough to see, but close enough to feel. Like a presence in the darkness just beyond the reach of his flashlight. At 3 a.m., Travis started his 4th round. By now, the routine should have been familiar, comforting even. Take the elevator to the top floor, work his way down, check doors and windows, look for anything out of place. But nothing about this felt routine anymore. The elevators were acting up again. When Travis pressed the call button, both elevators came at the same time. The doors opened simultaneously, like they were synchronized. Both cars were empty. Both were well lit and appeared to be working normally. But something about seeing them both standing open like that, waiting, made Travis's skin crawl. He got in the left elevator, pressed the button for the 15th floor. The doors closed smoothly, and the car began to rise. Then it stopped. Not at a floor. Between floors. Travis could see the concrete wall of the elevator shaft through the small window in the door. The car was stuck somewhere between the 8th and 9th floors. The lights flickered. The elevator swayed slightly, like it was hanging from a cable that wasn't quite secure. Travis pressed the alarm button. Nothing. He tried the emergency phone. Dead. He keyed his radio. Ed. Ed. I'm stuck in the elevator. Static. Then Ed's voice. Distant and broken. Travis? Can you hear me? Where are you? Stuck in the left elevator somewhere between 8 and 9. The car stopped moving. Okay, don't panic. I'm calling the elevator service company. They can get you out. How long will that take? More static. Ed's voice was getting fainter. Hour, maybe 2. Stay calm. Don't try to get out on your own. Then the radio went dead. No static, no background noise. Just silence. Travis was alone in a metal box suspended in an elevator shaft, somewhere in the middle of a 15-story building that might or might not be empty. He waited. 5 minutes. 10. 15. The elevator didn't move. His radio stayed dead. And slowly, Travis became aware of a sound coming from above him. Footsteps. Someone was walking around in the elevator shaft, their feet echoing on metal walkways and maintenance platforms. Slow, deliberate steps like someone doing an inspection or looking for something. Travis looked up at the ceiling of the elevator car. There was an access panel there, held in place by 4 screws. The footsteps were getting closer, louder. A voice called down from above. Hey, you okay down there? Travis nearly cried with relief. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm stuck. I know. We're here to get you out. Just stay calm. Are you the elevator service guys? A pause. Then, yeah, that's right. We're gonna get you moving again. Just sit tight. The footsteps moved around above him, and Travis could hear the sound of tools, metal on metal. Someone working on the elevator machinery. Then the car lurched. Just once, a sharp drop of maybe 6 inches. Travis grabbed the handrail as the elevator swayed. Sorry about that, the voice called down. Just getting the cables realigned. You're going to feel a few more bumps. Another lurch. This one bigger, dropping the car almost a foot before the cables caught and held. Travis's stomach jumped into his throat. Hey, take it easy up there. Almost got it. Just one more adjustment. The elevator car dropped again. This time it fell at least 10 feet before stopping with a crash that rattled Travis's teeth. The lights went out, leaving him in complete darkness. Hey, what's happening up there? Silence. The footsteps had stopped. No more sound of tools or machinery. Travis fumbled for his flashlight, clicked it on. The beam illuminated the small elevator car, but when he shone it upward at the access panel, he could see that something was wrong. The panel was open. Someone had removed the screws and pushed it aside, and there was a face looking down at him. Not the face of a maintenance worker, not the face of anyone who should have been there. It was Travis's own face. Same brown hair, same green eyes, same scar on his chin from when he fell off his bike at age 12. But wrong somehow. The expression was too calm, too knowing, and the eyes were completely black. The other Travis smiled. Going down. The elevator cable snapped. Travis fell through darkness, the car plummeting down the shaft like a stone. He had just enough time to scream before everything went black. He woke up in the lobby. Travis was lying on the marble floor next to the elevator doors, his flashlight beside him, his radio crackling with static. He sat up slowly, checking for injuries. Nothing seemed broken, nothing hurt, but he felt like he'd been hit by a truck. The elevator doors were closed. The out-of-order signs were back in place. Travis checked his watch. 4:17 a.m. He'd lost more than an hour. He keyed his radio. Ed, are you there? Travis, where the hell have you been? I've been trying to reach you for an hour. The elevator fell. I was trapped. What elevator? Travis, both elevators have been out of service since yesterday. The cables are being replaced next week. Travis stared at the elevator doors. The out-of-order signs looked old, like they'd been there for months. But someone was in the shaft, working on the cables. Travis, there's nobody in that building but you. I've been trying to call the elevator company, but their emergency line just goes to voicemail. Are you hurt? Travis stood up, still shaky. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm coming in. Stay where you are. No, Ed, I'm fine. Really. You said you fell down an elevator shaft. You could have a concussion. I'm okay. Just maybe I fell asleep. Had a weird dream. Pause. You sure? Travis looked around the empty lobby. Everything was normal, quiet, the way it should be. Yeah, I'm sure. Must have dozed off in the security office and had a nightmare. All right, but Travis, maybe you should consider whether this job is right for you. Night shift work isn't for everyone. The isolation, the weird hours, it can mess with your head. I need this job, Ed. I know, but I need a security guard who's alert and focused, not someone who's going to fall asleep on duty. It won't happen again. See that it doesn't. Travis spent the rest of his shift in the security office, drinking coffee and trying to convince himself that he'd imagined everything. The voices on the radio, the wet footprints, the elevator that had fallen but somehow delivered him safely to the lobby floor. Just stress. Just the weird atmosphere of an empty building at night. Just his imagination running wild. But when 7 a.m. came and the day shift arrived, Travis was more than ready to leave. He turned over his keys and radio to Martinez, who took one look at him and shook his head. Rough night, Martinez asked. You could say that. They always are in this place. You look like you've seen a ghost. Travis forced a laugh. Something like that. Listen to me, kid. I've worked security for 15 years, and I've never seen a building like this one. Something's wrong here. I don't know what, but something's not right. Ed says it's just the isolation. Empty buildings make you hear things. Martinez shook his head. I've worked plenty of empty buildings. This is different. This place has a history. What kind of history? Martinez looked around the lobby, making sure they were alone. Then he leaned closer and lowered his voice. Security guards, night shift guys like you, they don't last long here. Most quit after a few nights. But some. He paused. Some just disappear. Disappear how? Gone. One night they're here doing their rounds. Next morning their car's still in the parking lot, but they're nowhere to be found. Building management always says they quit without notice, but their families tell a different story. Travis felt a chill run down his spine. How many? Over the years? Maybe a dozen. Maybe more. Hard to say for sure because the company doesn't like to talk about it. Bad for business. Why didn't anyone tell me this before? Martinez shrugged. Ed doesn't like us scaring the new hires. Says it's just superstition. But I've been here 3 years, and I've seen 4 night guards come and go. 3 of them quit after less than a week. The 4th one. What happened to the 4th one? Kid named Brandon Walsh. Took the job about 6 months ago. Seemed tough, you know? Ex-military, did 2 tours in Afghanistan. Said an empty building didn't scare him. Did he quit? Martinez shook his head. He lasted 2 weeks. Was actually starting to like the job, said it was peaceful compared to combat. Then one night he just vanished. Left his car, his keys, his wallet, everything. Police searched the building top to bottom. Never found a trace. Travis swallowed hard. What do you think happened to him? I don't know. But I'll tell you this. After Brandon disappeared, I started paying more attention to the security cameras. And sometimes, late at night when I'm here alone, I see things on those monitors. What kind of things? Shadows where there shouldn't be shadows. Doors opening and closing by themselves. And once, Martinez hesitated. Once I saw someone walking the halls on the upper floors. Someone in a security uniform. Could have been a night guard. That's what I thought. But when I checked the schedule, there was no one working that night. Position was vacant. Travis stared at Martinez. You think it was Brandon? I don't know what to think. All I know is this. If you're smart, you'll find another job. The money's good here, but it's not worth whatever's happening in this building. Travis left the Meridian Office Complex that morning with Martinez's words echoing in his head. But he didn't quit. He couldn't afford to quit. He needed that $18 an hour, needed to make his tuition payment. He went home to his small apartment, pulled the blinds, and tried to sleep. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw that face looking down at him through the elevator access panel. His own face, but wrong. Those black eyes and that knowing smile. Just a dream, he told himself. Just stress and exhaustion and too much caffeine. But deep down, he knew better. That afternoon, Travis did something he probably should have done before taking the job. He went to the public library and looked up everything he could find about the Meridian Office Complex. What he found made his blood run cold. The building had a history, not just of missing security guards, but of strange incidents going back to when it first opened in 1987. Elevator accidents, people getting trapped in stairwells, reports of voices and footsteps in empty parts of the building, and deaths, more deaths than any office building should have. In 1989, a maintenance worker fell down an elevator shaft. The investigation showed the safety cables had been cut, but they never found who did it. In 1994, a cleaning woman was found dead in a supply closet. Heart attack, they said, but she was only 28 with no history of heart problems. In 1998, a security guard named Michael Torres was discovered at the bottom of the main stairwell, broken neck, and then the disappearances started. Night security guards vanishing without a trace. Always the same pattern car in the parking lot. Belongings in the security office, no sign of struggle. Travis found all of this at the library that afternoon. Newspaper clippings, police reports, insurance claims. A stack of papers 3 inches thick, all telling the same story. The Meridian Office Complex was dangerous, but Travis didn't quit. He couldn't. $800 for tuition, due in 10 days. This job was his only chance. That evening, October 16th, he returned for his second night. Martinez was finishing his day shift. You came back, Martinez said, surprised. I need the money. Martinez shook his head. Money's not worth your life, kid. He pulled something from his desk drawer. A small silver cross on a chain. Take this. My grandmother said it would keep me safe from evil spirits. Travis took the cross, put it around his neck. The metal felt cold against his skin. One more thing, Martinez said. If something happens, if you see something that doesn't make sense, don't try to understand it. Just get out. Run if you have to. This job isn't worth dying for. But Travis didn't run. He should have. When the elevators started acting up again, when he found more wet footprints, when he heard voices whispering his name through the radio static, when he saw the other security guards, all with his face, all telling him he belonged there now. He should have listened to Martinez, should have dropped those keys and walked out the front door and never looked back. Instead, he stayed. He tried to fight whatever was in that building, tried to understand it, reason with it, find a way to break free. The last radio transmission came at 4:23 a.m. on October 17th. Ed heard Travis's voice, panicked and breathless. "They're here, Ed. All of them. They want me to join the night shift, the permanent night shift." Then nothing but static. We found his car in the parking lot the next morning. Keys still in the ignition. His backpack was in the security office, homework half finished on the desk. The security cameras showed him entering the building but never leaving, like he just vanished into thin air. The building's still there, still hiring security guards. The pay is still too good for a simple night job. And every few months, some college kid desperate for money sees that posting and thinks they've hit the jackpot. I've tried to warn them, put up posts online, contacted the newspapers, even called the building management. But nobody listens. They think I'm just another conspiracy nut, another cop who's seen too much and lost his grip on reality. Maybe they're right. Maybe Travis Miller just ran away. Maybe all those other guards over the years just quit without notice and started new lives somewhere else. But I don't think so. I think they're still there, walking those empty hallways, doing their rounds, waiting for the next desperate kid to take the night shift. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes running is the only way to survive. Travis Miller learned that lesson too late. Don't make his mistake. If a job seems too good to be true, if the pay is way higher than it should be, if everyone who works there has a haunted look in their eyes and tells you stories about things that don't make sense, listen to them. Turn around. Walk away. Find another job, any other job. Because some places don't let you quit. Some places don't let you leave. And some night shifts never end.